As you watch this video right now, you might be thinking that the data is streaming to your device from satellites in the sky. Most of us assume that's the case. Elon Musk's Starlink, the space race, huge satellite dishes, it's all really cool. But let me let you in on a secret. The internet doesn't live in the sky. It lives at the bottom of the ocean. Right now, a percentage of the world's intercontinental internet traffic flows through fiber optic cables laid on the ocean floor, with a total length of million kilometers. That distance is equivalent to traveling from Earth to the Moon and back nearly 4 times. These cables don't just carry cat videos or Netflix shows. Every day, trillions of dollars worth of financial transactions, military communications, state secrets, and the lifeblood of the global economy flow through these thin glass fibers at the speed of light. But what if these cables were cut? In just a few seconds, global stock markets would crash, airplanes would lose their course, hospitals would be unable to access their databases, and modern civilization would be plunged into darkness in an instant. And the scary part is this: these cables are far more fragile than you might think. What's more, right now, in the dark waters of the ocean, a silent and invisible war is being waged against these cables. Today, we're diving into the internet's secret undersea backbone. We'll discuss why these cables have become the world's greatest geopolitical weapon and why we're constantly on the brink of disaster. How does an underwater internet cable come to life in your eyes? Maybe it's huge, made of steel. You dream of impenetrable pipes. The truth is much more modest. The deepest part of the ocean, these cables passing through its points are just the thickness of a garden hose. There are glass fibers in them that are as thin as human hair. The data is in the form of laser lights through these fibers he travels decently between continents. The outer parts are against water pressure and shark bites covered with polyethylene and steel wires. Yes, sharks sometimes bite these cables, but they're not the danger. The history of these cables actually dates back much further than the internet. In the era, Queen. When Victoria and U.S. President James Buchanan sent the first transcontinental telegraph message, communication had gone down from days of ship trips to seconds. Since that day, the ocean at space became the highway of global communication. However, this highway has very dangerous bottlenecks. Geography determines the fate of the internet. The Suez Canal in Egypt is the most critical point connecting Asia and Europe. Only the cables running through the narrow waterway carry a massive portion of the world's internet traffic. Similarly, the Strait of Malacca and Gibraltar are also the arteries of the internet. If a malicious actor wants to paralyze the internet, they wouldn't look for a needle in the middle of the ocean. No need. Targeting only these bottlenecks is sufficient, and believe me, some countries are planning exactly this. During the Cold War years, the U.S. Navy conducted a top-secret mission called Operation Ivy Bells. He made it work. Eavesdropping on the Soviet Union's military communications cables on the ocean floor, they planted the devices. For years, they listened to the Soviets' most secret nuclear submarine communications. At the time, this was an incredible technological achievement. Today, such operations are global. It has become the daily routine of the forces. Now, they don't just listen to the cables, they use them as a weapon. To this, in military literature, it is called the gray zone war. So, without a clear declaration of war, the enemy's damaging critical infrastructure. For example, Russia. The Russian Navy has a special research vessel called Yantar. Formal as a result, he conducts oceanographic research. But NATO officials say that when Yantar is critical, if it navigates along the route of undersea cables, it goes into alert status. Because this ship, a listening device that can go thousands of meters deep into the ocean and cut cables, or it carries mini submarines that can deploy. Not only Russia. During the years, very strange events took place in the Baltic Sea and around Taiwan. The cables connecting Taiwan to the outside world are covered with Chinese-made sandbags. He was repeatedly, accidentally cut off by his ships. In the Baltic Sea, Sweden, and Lithuania. The cables between them were severed by the anchors of commercial ships passing through the area. The magic word here, deniability. If you attack a country's internet with missiles, that's a reason for war. But a fisherman, a boat, or a commercial cargo ship drags its anchor on a stormy night and the country's internet if he breaks the cable, you'd just call it an unfortunate accident. No one starts World War I because of an accident. States are using this legal loophole to monitor each other's digital activities. They are testing the carotid arteries. Early in the day, a ship sank after being attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, and as it sank, its anchor severed the three main cables connecting Asia and Europe. The result? In the region, the internet traffic instantly vanished by a percentage. This incident even affected non-state armed groups. It showed the world how easily the global internet can be threatened. Cutting the cables is just the brute force part of the job. The real big battle is who owns these cables. It's all about who will install it and who will have control over the data. There is currently a new Cold War in the world, and the front line of this war is the ocean floor. On one side, the United States, China on the other side. China, through its state-supported companies, is connecting Asia and Africa under the Digital Silk Road project, and is building massive undersea cable projects connecting Europe, like HMN Tech. Chinese companies are rapidly expanding in the global market, but the US has sternly warned its allies not to use these Chinese cables, he warns. You ask why? Because whose cable your data is passing through, the power to access that data is also he has it. The United States believes that China can eavesdrop on global communications through these cables, or possible he is afraid that he may pull down the switch in a moment of crisis. That's why the US government is diplomatic to prevent Chinese companies from winning tenders. It exerts pressure and ensures that the cable installation is carried out by the companies it supports. The interesting thing is that there are no longer just states in this war. Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft technology giants such as these have become the largest investors in undersea cables today. He came. Their own special cables to connect their own huge data centers to each other, they're laying it down. These companies have grown so much that they are like states to protect their own digital empires they're moving. However, their priority is not national security, but speed and cost. This situation, it frequently pits states' security concerns against companies' commercial interests. Let's say the worst-case scenario came true. As a result of a coordinated sabotage operation or a massive undersea earthquake, the main cables were severed. The internet is gone. What are we going to do? To the satellites, will we connect? Unfortunately, no. Satellite internet systems like Starlink are great technologies, but their capacity pales in comparison to undersea cables. If all the satellites come together December even so, they can only carry up to 1% of global internet traffic. The remaining percentage, we need cables for this. So how are these cables repaired? This is the weakest link in the system. Throughout the world, there are only around cable repair ships equipped to repair this massive network. Yes, you heard that right. Connecting the lives of billions of people. Only the ship holds up the million-kilometer-long network. When a cable breaks, these ships must travel to the scene, thousands of meters across the ocean. By releasing hooks into its depth, it finds the broken ends, brings them to the surface, and tunes them to a millimetric it needs to weld the glass fibers together with precision. This process is performed even under good weather conditions. It could take weeks. If the cable breaks in a war zone or during a diplomatic crisis, repair it. It can take months for ships to obtain the necessary permits to enter that region. Off the coast of Yemen. The repair of the severed cables could not be carried out for months due to the conflicts in the region. In other words, our system has a recovery mechanism that is much slower and cumbersome than we thought. Owner. This invisible war under the ocean is getting hotter every day. The internet, now it's not just a means of entertainment that we watch cat videos, it's the central nerve of modern civilization, the system. States must develop new strategies to protect this nervous system. Cable diversify routes, reduce dependence on bottlenecks, and utilize the ocean floor building high-tech sensor networks to monitor the environment is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. International law must abandon laws from the telegraph era and embrace the digital age. He needs to establish deterrent rules that are consistent with his facts. Otherwise, accidentally drifting anchors and submarines conducting research, the world into a digital darkness in an instant he can drag. Next time you send a message from your phone or click on a website, or when you open a video, remember this. That data doesn't come from clouds in the sky. It reaches you by passing through the dark, cold, and dangerous depths of the ocean. And in those depths, without even knowing it, there is a silent one that will determine the fate of the world. There's a war going on. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe to the channel, don't forget to be. See you in the next video. Bye.